we're on the verge of a revolution. But it has nothing to do with silicon chips or quantum computers. It has to do with us, with the very code of life itself. For decades, we've been reading that code. Now we're learning how to write it. And that one shift is about to change not just our health, but our entire world in ways most of us haven't dared to imagine. When we think of biotechnology, we picture scientists in a lab curing diseases. And they are. We're seeing incredible breakthroughs, treatments tailored to a person's unique genetics, and diseases that were once a death sentence being managed and even cured. But to say that biotech is only about medicine, that's like saying the internet is only for sending emails. It's a huge misunderstanding of the power we've just unlocked. The same technology fighting cancer is also being used to create food that can survive a drought, buildings that heal their own cracks, and a future that looks more like science fiction than you might think. It's a quiet biological revolution that's happening not in decades, but right now. This is the story of the bio-revolution and how it's about to change, everything. To get how we can rewrite our world, we first have to understand the language it's written in. That language is DNA. It's the source code for every living thing on this planet, from the tiniest microbe to the biggest blue whale. For most of human history, we were just watching this code work. We could crossbreed plants or animals hoping for the right traits, but it was a slow, clumsy process like trying to edit a book by randomly shuffling its pages. Then everything changed. In the last few decades, and especially in the last one, we've built tools that let us edit this code with incredible precision. The most famous one is called CRISPR. You've probably heard of it, but what is it really? The simplest way to think of it is as a pair of molecular scissors combined with a biological GPS. Scientists can program it to find a very specific sequence in an organism's DNA, make a precise cut, and then either remove a faulty gene or replace it with a new one. It's like having a search and replace function for the code of life itself. This technology and others like it, such as base and prime editing, get more refined every single day. They are the engines of the bio-revolution. And we're already seeing what these engines can do in medicine. It's moving from theory to reality at a mind-blowing speed. We've just seen the very first CRISPR-based therapies get approved, like Casgevy, which treats debilitating genetic disorders like sickle cell disease and transfusion-dependent beta thalassemia. And in a landmark case, scientists developed and delivered a completely personalized CRISPR therapy for an infant with a rare and fatal genetic disorder, creating a custom cure from scratch in just 6 months. This isn't just a small step forward, it's a total paradigm shift in what medicine can be, moving from one-size-fits-all drugs to hyper-personalized cures. These medical miracles are rightly celebrated. They give hope to millions. They're the public face of the bio-revolution, but they're just the first chapter in a much, much bigger story. Because the same basic idea, the ability to precisely edit the code of life, doesn't just apply to human health, it applies to all biology. And that is where the revolution truly begins to scale. What happens when we take these genetic scissors out of the hospital and bring them into our fields, our factories, and our cities? Our global food system is under a ton of strain. We have a growing population to feed, but we're facing challenges like never before. Climate change is bringing more extreme weather, longer droughts, intense heat waves, and sudden floods that can wipe out a harvest. Soil is getting saltier, and new pests and diseases are popping up everywhere. For generations, our approach has been to fight a defensive war with more pesticides, more fertilizers, and more water. But what if we could redesign our food to not just survive these challenges, but thrive in them? This is the first great revelation of the bio-revolution beyond medicine, the total reinvention of agriculture. Using gene editing tools like CRISPR, scientists can now make precise tweaks to a plant's own DNA to boost its natural abilities. This isn't about adding foreign genes from other species, but about turning on or off a plant's built-in potential. Take drought, one of the biggest threats to our food supply. By making tiny edits, researchers have developed rice and maize that are far more tolerant to drought. They can do this by adjusting genes that control a plant's stomata, the little pores on leaves where water escapes, making the plant more water efficient without stunting its growth. The same idea works for heat. Scientists have used CRISPR to help tomatoes keep producing fruit during heat waves by modifying the genes for heat shock proteins, which are like a cell's emergency crew, protecting it from damage. And for farms struggling with salty soil, this tech is a lifeline. By editing genes that control how a plant handles salt, researchers are creating crops like rice and tomatoes that can grow in salty soil that would kill most other plants. But it's not just about playing defense, it's also about offense, making our food better and more nutritious. You may have heard of golden rice, which was engineered to produce vitamin A to fight deficiency. Now, with gene editing, this process is way faster and more sophisticated. Imagine tomatoes edited to have more antioxidants, or wheat with more fiber. Scientists are even working on editing the genes in peanuts and wheat that cause severe allergic reactions. An allergen-free peanut isn't science fiction anymore. Maybe the most radical change to our food system, though, is happening away from the soil entirely. I'm talking about lab-grown or cultivated meat. This involves taking a small sample of animal cells without harming the animal and growing them in a controlled environment called a bioreactor. The cells get the same nutrients they would in an animal's body, and they grow into real muscle, fat, and tissue. The final product is real meat, identical on a cellular level to the stuff from a farm, but without the slaughter. The sustainability benefits are huge. Traditional livestock farming is a major source of greenhouse gas emissions, deforestation, and water use. Studies suggest that cultivated meat could cut emissions by up to 92% and land use by over 90% compared to conventional beef. While significant challenges in scaling up production and lowering costs still remain, companies are already selling cultivated meat in countries like the United States and Singapore, signaling a massive shift in how we get our protein. From drought-proof grain to meat grown without a farm, biotechnology is completely rewriting the rules of our food system. We're moving from a system of brute force to one of biological elegance. If the biorevolution can rewrite our food, what's next? How about rewriting the very materials we use to build our world? For the last century, our civilization has been built on dead materials: steel, concrete, and plastic from fossil fuels. They're strong and useful, but they come at a huge environmental cost. Making them is energy intensive, and they're filling up our landfills and oceans. The second great revelation of the biorevolution is the dawn of living materials, a new class of substances created by biology for a more sustainable world. Let's start with a wild concept: self-healing materials. Imagine a concrete wall that can automatically repair its own cracks. It's not magic, it's biotech. Researchers are embedding concrete with dormant bacterial spores and the nutrients they need to wake up. When water seeps into a crack, it rouses the bacteria. The microbes then eat the nutrients and secrete limestone, sealing the crack from the inside. And this same idea is being applied to things like phone screens that could heal their own scratches or car paint that repairs itself. These materials copy the natural healing processes in our own bodies, promising to make everything we build last much longer. And then there's the plastic problem. We make hundreds of millions of tons of plastic every year, and most of it will stick around for centuries. The biorevolution offers an alternative: bioplastics. Scientists are engineering microbes like bacteria and yeast to act as microscopic factories. By feeding them sugar from agricultural waste, they can be programmed to produce all kinds of biodegradable polymers. Instead of digging up finite resources to create a permanent pollutant, we're using biology to turn waste into a material that can return to nature. This idea of using microbes as factories goes way beyond plastics. This is the world of synthetic biology. We can now engineer yeast to produce biofuels that are far more efficient than ethanol from corn. Algae holds incredible promise. These tiny photosynthetic powerhouses can be grown in wastewater, don't compete with food crops, and can be genetically optimized to produce oils for biodiesel and even sustainable jet fuel. The applications are practically endless. Bacteria are being engineered to make the dyes for our clothes, cutting down on harsh chemicals. Yeast can be programmed to create scents for perfumes or enzymes for detergents. Scientists have even engineered microbes to produce a material that mimics spider silk, one of the strongest fibers in nature, for high-performance clothing. This is a new industrial revolution where our factories are living cells. We're shifting from a world of extraction and waste to one of cultivation and regeneration. A future of climate-proof food, self-healing cities, and a circular economy powered by biology sounds incredible, almost utopian. And that brings us to the most important and complicated part of this story. Just because we can do all this, should we? With any technology this powerful, there are huge ethical questions and risks we can't ignore. The ability to rewrite life's code is the ability to shape our planet's future, and that's an immense responsibility. The ethical debate around CRISPR is most heated when it comes to humans, especially editing the human germline, making changes to eggs, sperm, or embryos that would be passed down through generations. While there's broad support for using this tech to treat severe diseases, the idea of using it for enhancement has led most scientists to urge extreme caution. But the questions go far beyond medicine. In agriculture, the debate over GMOs has been going on for decades. While gene editing is more precise, public mistrust about unnatural food is still a real issue. There are valid questions about ecological impacts. What happens if a gene-edited crop escapes into the wild? Could it disrupt local ecosystems? These aren't easy questions. There are also critical issues of fairness and equity. Who will get to use these revolutionary technologies? Will gene-edited seeds be affordable for small farmers, or will they just make big agricultural corporations even more powerful? If the bio-revolution only benefits a privileged few, it could make global inequality even worse. And the tech itself isn't foolproof. The possibility of off-target edits, unintentional mistakes in the DNA, is a major scientific concern. While the tools are getting better, biology is so complex that we can't always predict every consequence of a single genetic change. That's why researchers are now developing AI-powered tools like CRISPR-GPT and TIGER, which can predict and help minimize these off-target risks, making the process safer and more precise. This is why we need clear rules and open conversations. These decisions can't just be made by scientists and corporations. They have to involve all of us, policymakers, ethicists, farmers, and consumers. The future of our food, our environment, and even our definition of natural is on the line, and everyone deserves a voice. For centuries, we've lived in a world defined by physics and chemistry. We built machines, we synthesized chemicals, and we treated the biological world as a resource to be harvested. What we're seeing now is a fundamental shift in that relationship. This isn't just about a few clever inventions, a new therapy, a hardier crop, a new plastic. This is a complete change in our technological paradigm. We are moving from an age of exploiting biology to an age of engineering it. We're learning to partner with life itself to solve our biggest challenges. This is the bio-revolution. It's the convergence of biology and the digital age. The plunging cost of DNA sequencing combined with the explosive power of AI is creating a feedback loop of accelerating discovery. AI can now predict the function of genes we've never understood and design new proteins that don't exist in nature. This convergence is what makes the bio-revolution so powerful. A landmark report from the McKinsey Global Institute estimated that up to 60% of the physical inputs into our global economy could, in principle, be produced biologically. Think about that. More than half of everything we make, our food, our fuels, our materials, could come from biology. This represents a societal transformation on the scale of the industrial or digital revolutions. It's an inflection point in human history, and it's not coming in 50 years. It's already here. We started this journey looking at biotech through the familiar lens of medicine, but as we've seen, that's just the start. The true scope of the bio-revolution goes far beyond the hospital, touching every part of our lives. It's in the food on our plates, engineered for a changing climate. It's in the materials we use to build our world, designed to heal and to return to the earth. The 20th century was about mastering the atom and the bit. The 21st will be defined by our understanding of the gene. We're just beginning to learn how to speak the language of life, and the story we're writing is one of resilience, sustainability, and incredible possibility. This power comes with immense responsibility, and the choices we make now will define the future for all of us. So what do you think? Which of these breakthroughs excites you the most? And which ones give you pause? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This is a conversation we all need to have. By the way, if this topic really interests you, take a look at my video about a real-world instance of the bio-revolution changing a baby's life. And of course, if you want to keep exploring the future we're building together, make sure to subscribe.